One of my favorite videos on the entire YouTube is Argon Matrix's Can You Complete Stardew Valley's Community Center Without Leveling Up? It is an awesome hour-long epic of Argon detailing the undertaking of attempting to beat Stardew Valley while working as little as possible, and in turn, working harder than anyone ever has. However, there's also this video where someone undertook the Stardew Valley Hermit Challenge and ended up giving up after just 1 year. And who could blame him, really? He went in without a plan, and worst of all, he played... And I'm sorry for any gamers out there, but I'm about to use a very dirty word. Suboptimally!
Don't worry, chat. Suboptimal gameplay isn't real. It can't hurt you.
Quite a lot more planted.
Well, after watching both of those videos one night, I got to thinking he needed to break the weeds to get the mixed seeds so he could actually grow some crops. In fact, you know what? What would it actually take to complete the Hermit Challenge? And I was unable to sleep, mapping out all the details of the challenge, and so I eventually just woke up and wrote down the entire plan of how it would be accomplished, just so I could put my mind to rest. However, when I woke up the next day, I had in my Google Docs an entire plan of how to beat the Stardew Valley Hermit Challenge, and I decided I would be a fool to not spend over 80 hours sitting in one area of Stardew Valley. In all honesty, I thought it would take like 20 hours, but, you know, the sunk cost fallacy stopped me from walking away at any point. So what even is the Stardew Valley Hermit Challenge? Well, it's simple, really. All you gotta do is fill out the community center in Stardew Valley, with one little caveat being that you can only leave the farm once per year. No big deal. People consistently finish the community center in under a year. We could easily knock this out in just 120 years, no sweat. However, with Chet's totally kicking Hermit Challenge plan, I bet we can knock it out in 4 to 8 years, no problem. However, the 4-year plan would require a luck stat akin to that of an isekai protagonist, so let's aim a little closer to the 8 years, shall we? Alright, let's go with some ground rules. My character can only leave the farm area once per year. The day that I go out, however, may be any day of my choosing, whether it be winter 28 or spring 1st. Heck, I could even conceivably go out on winter 28 and spring 1. But once I go out, under no circumstances can I leave the farm again until that little year marker ticks up by 1. Also, save scumming is allowed. I can leave the farm whenever I want, but if I exit to the menu and then end up not leaving, that does not count as the 1 day that I leave per year. Also, it should go without saying, but no glitches or exploits. We're gonna play this game exactly as Concerned Ape intended. Or to be more precise, a way that Concerned Ape never intended. I don't need no dang friends. I'll just sit on a rocking chair with a Confederate pistol under my shawl and ramble incoherently at anyone who enters my farm. There's aliens, I tell ya! Aliens! Alright, so before we even get control of our character, we have some very important choices to make. Some of them are less important, like our name and look. After thinking for a long while, I decided to name myself Mr. Lonely and made my character look like 1950s heartthrob Bobby Vinton. However, after a couple of resets, I decided to make him look like his pictures, which are all in black and white. Favorite thing, solitude, farm, no entry. And here is one of the biggest decisions of the entire run. What sort of farm are we gonna use? On the face, all of them are pretty attractive. Standard farm has plenty of space to make our captivity a little more bearable. However, that is extremely short-sighted. All of the other farms, while being smaller, offer unique little items. And when you're confined to a small little section of the map, getting all 110 items for the community center, you need to think about what kind of items will be in short supply, and which farm can actually fill those blind spots. The Riverland farm offers a lot more variety in fishing, and seeing as how 25 of the items for the bundles are fish, this is an extremely tempting offer. You see, most of the farms only offer like, maybe 5 fish, and only one of them can be used in the bundle. Access to the Rivertown fish would have been nice, but in the long run, I needed a different farm. The forest farm was extremely tempting. You can forage, you can get all of the hardwood your twisted black heart could ever want. The wood skip is fishable. I almost went with this one, however, once I learned that hardwood wasn't actually needed for any of the mandatory buildings, I had to let it slide. How about the beach farm? Obviously, we're not going to be making our fortunes from sprinklers. Heaven knows we don't have anywhere else to be. Random items washing up, access to beach fish, and forageables? Actually, in retrospect, I'm thinking that was the right choice. There are a few things that we need in large supplies that can only be supplied by the Hilltop Farm. Ores and geodes. However, you can get a decent amount of those through fishing, especially if all you have to do is fishing. However, due to a couple of missteps, I ended up having to restart and I decided to go with the Four Corners Farm. You've got a patch for mining, you've got a patch that spawns these guaranteed mixed seeds weeds, and you got a lot of space. It's the best of all worlds, except fishing, but you know, even the fishing farm didn't have good enough fishing. But with everything selected, let's get this crazy little shindig started. Grandpa dies, leaving me with a letter to read when I get depressed from the 9-to-5 grind. Alright, let's see what this letter says. I lost sight of what mattered most. Real connections with other people. No.
Lonely, I'm Mr. Lonely. I have nobody for my own.
Alright, so I started this as anyone playing Stardew Valley should. I grab my parsnips, I till the soil, and I plant the seeds. Alright, normal playthrough is over. What is there to do on self-imposed isolation? Well, on my first ever run, what I did was I cleared all the weeds and debris. I restarted my second ever run because my footage ended up looking like this. Clearing away the rubble is a huge no-no in the Stardew Valley Hermit Challenge. I wasn't able to find any info about what I'm talking about, so just take this as the intuition of a man who spent 7 years on a Stardew Valley farm, and only the farm. Every morning, if there's a piece of stone or wood, it has a chance of spawning another rock or stick within the 8 spaces around it. Hence why sometimes paths or objects are destroyed by
the spreading corruption.
Heck, not even the debris themselves are immune. I kept this little pen of grass confined and one day the stick just turned into a rock. Also, weeds have a chance of spawning more weeds. See, there are 2 things that I need. The first is materials like stone, fiber, woods, mixed seeds. And second is something to do! The first file, I destroyed everything and then no more would spawn. I couldn't even make myself a scarecrow. However, I did leave 1 weed alive, and when it spawned more weeds, I realized, oh crap, I need to leave foliage to make foliage. So new farm, new sense of what to do. I decided to dedicate the 4 sections into like 4 royalties where we would value one type of material over another. The upper left was weeds, since they have a chance of spawning a weed with a 100% chance of giving you a mixed seed when destroyed, which is going to be the best money early on. The lower right is where the quarry is, so I decided we would value rocks here, and I made the lower left where we could access wood. So, every morning, I would wake up and prune them in a checkerboard pattern. I need them to spread, but I also need to be able to gather some of the resources that they have. The checkerboard pattern gives the resources a great chance to reproduce and spread, but it also gives me a good indicator of when to harvest. Oh my gosh, I am literally a rock farmer like Pinkie Pie. But after I check the areas, I start to make the real cash by using all remaining stamina to till the soil. You see, with each swing of the hoe, I have a chance to unearth clay. Now, it's not a lot, mind you, but we need money this early on. And those hunks of clay, while not exactly prevalent, are consistent and they sell for 20 gold apiece. And I can get about 3 to 5 per day. And not to brag, sometimes I could get myself 120 gold in one day. It's okay to be jealous. But after 6 days, the parsnips come in, and I get item number 1, a parsnip.
I brought back parsnips.
The community center is a brilliant piece of game design. It is set up in such a way that you need to interact with all of Stardew Valley's varied systems to complete it. There are 110 items that you need to bring it, and they're all set up with themes. This first one is for crops that you can grow in spring. I guess technically the first one is set up with all the items that you can forage in spring, but that is literally the last one that I'm going to be able to complete. The only other real items that I could get during the first spring were the other crops that you could acquire from mixed seeds, which were the cauliflower and the potato. But it seems as if Concerned Ape wanted to make darn sure that you actually spent some money, because each season's mixed seeds could get you most of the items to complete the bundles, but not to finish them. And since I can't freely leave the farm, I can't get the necessary seeds. So every morning I arose, I cared for my seeds, I pruned the farm, I dug for clay. However, on Fridays and Sundays, I started my mornings a little differently. You see, I can only leave the farm once per year, so I want to get as much done on those days that I leave as possible. Hence why I needed to check the traveling merchant. There's a merchant in Stardew Valley that shows up twice a week. She owns a pig with a fez and sunglasses. It is very awesome. And she shows up with a variety of items that you can't normally buy in the game. And there are a few items that if acquired from her could knock several years off this challenge. The first one I want is that truffle because it could save 4 years. 1 year, I need to build the barn. But the years that it would save are year 1, upgrading to the big barn. Year 2, upgrading to the deluxe barn. Year 3, buying the pig to dig up the truffle. And year 4, where I could actually redeem that truffle. So I checked the merchant every week, and when she inevitably gave me nothing, I would just restart the day. I'm not wasting my 1 day of freedom if there's nothing to get. So I worked the farm and the quarry, which got me enough copper to not only get a bar for the blacksmith's bundle, but I was able to make a tapper, which would allow me to harvest pine tar, 2 oak resins, and 2 maple syrups. And after that, it can start providing me with some nice passive income. But now we step into summer where the mixed seeds get me hot peppers and corn. The corn is especially useful because it persists all the way into fall, and even with my extremely low farming level, it got me 5 gold star corns for the quality crops bundle. But another season comes and goes with minimal items and cash procured. And although I keep checking the merchant, I'm kind of running out of time because no matter what, I need to take my first exit in fall. Because I need to activate the community center. I know it has to be a sunny day, but I don't know if the winter will work. Believe it or not, there's not a whole heap of information of people who haven't left the farm from the bus stop area for 4 whole seasons. But anyone who's decided to befriend Shane to get blue chickens knows that some events can't be accessed in the winter, and I'm not risking setting this run back any further. So, after we get the eggplants and pumpkins for the fall crops bundle, the final day of fall was my first taste of freedom. Now, some of the fun of the Hermit challenge is feeling like a speedrunner without needing the skill, because you do need to route out the perfect day, but there are no frame-perfect inputs. So, on my first day, I load up a ton of wood and stone and 5 bronze bars. Although the traveling merchant doesn't have the truffle, I still hit her up to grab a pufferfish and a coffee seed. Then I check around for some fall forageables. I find hazelnuts and blackberries just fine, but no plum. Whatever, no time to dwell on it though, there's plenty of valley left. We have some shops to see. The first is the general store ran by Pierre. No time for Morris and his aggressive business practices. We need Pierre's backpack, as well as some yams, sunflower seeds, and what the heck. Grab a whole slew of pumpkins and some amaranth for Marnie's quest. After that, we hit the beach for my beloved fishing rod. Finally, something to do on the farm! I also rebuild the bridge because I'll need an urchin. They didn't have any today, but after that we go to Clint and I purchase a lot of iron ore because I have no guarantee that I'll be able to get any, and there's something I want to build. I'm gonna need 1 bar for the blacksmith's bundle, and I'm gonna need at least 5 bars because of what I do next, which is leave my axe with Clint. Yeah, this is gonna suck, but with any luck I can leave my farm early next year before it gets too overgrown and there's no way to eliminate the wood. But I am going to need a steel axe to complete, I'm thinking, at least 3 of the bundles. Oh, and before I forget, I need to activate the community center. I feel this is what killed the other guy's run. He waited a whole year to make any progress, and instead he got a gut punch. Alright, now I can wait till next year and actually translate this gobbledygook. Now we head up to the mountains. That's where the carpenter Robin lives. She'll build buildings for you if you give her the cash and materials, and since a lot of the items to complete the community center come from farm animals, we're gonna need some farm buildings. The biggest problem is that in this run, Robin can only build me one building per year, so I have to plan accordingly to make darn sure I see her every time I get off that forsaken farm. But since I did, I have Robin build us a coop. While the barn's subsequent upgrades can be circumvented with a lucky truffle, we're still gonna need a fully full deluxe coop. Also, I get my sword from Marlin. Now all that remains is the final fall forgeable. Well, that and getting Lion's basket and then taunting him with it.
You want this, don't you?
Oh, alright, now to go find the wild plum. The wild plum. Plum. Where is it? Where's the plum? I can't find it! I can't find the plum.
Daisy's obviously gonna wind up with Luigi. Why can't they bring back Plum to be Waluigi's girl?
Okay, so it was fairly obvious that I was going to need to leave the farm at least once each season's for seeds and forageables. But because someone was too busy golfing to show up, we just tacked on at least one more fall outing. Maybe the merchant could bring by the plum, but I need the truffle before I use one of my outings for something that should just naturally show up. Now on to winter, which is lame in a regular run, but was extremely exciting for me because I got a brand new toy.
I don't want to do that anymore.
Okay, I thought fishing rod was simply gonna be money. And I wasn't wrong, but I didn't factor in how much I was gonna get from treasures. We got the frozen tier, the fire quartz, the frozen geode, and tons of artifacts. It turns out I'm gonna need like 60 of those for the museum. Fortunately, fishing got me a multitude of items and geodes, and once I leveled up, I was able to build a crab pot to wrestle up a periwinkle, snail, and a crayfish. And on the 8th of winter, I finally made enough money for Dimitri to show up, and he offered to transform my cave into an ecological habitat. And for most of my run, I was planning to go with fruit bats, cause I need a few fruits, it'll give me foraging EXP. However, with how my foraging run went in the fall, I can't leave the moral, purple, brown, and red mushrooms up to chance. So unfortunately, shrooms is the course that I went with, but hey, we can add 6 to the little item counter. Alright, we enter year 2, and this is a very big year. It sucks not having my axe, but with any luck, the traveling cart will... Oh, spring 5th. That's a truffle. Oh, by the way, did you see that? Let me play it again for you. Yeah, that's me seeing the truffle. Hovering my cursor over the truffle, and then walking away from the truffle. I wouldn't notice what I've done until I'm 50 hours into this run. And I may have added 2 years and a double-digit amount of hours to this run because of that tiny little mistake. Alright, but I did end up making my year 2 outing on spring 5th. You might be a little annoyed because it was just 33 days I was out, but don't worry because my next outing is over 7 seasons away. But this outing got a lot of work done. So I did head down to the merchant and I even bought some stuff, just not, the only thing that even matters. Then I scooted down to the wizard and he taught me the Jumino language. After that, I scuttled on up to the community center and finished the bundles that I had the stuff for. One thing you might forget about the bundles is that they're not all available from the start. You need to complete 4 of them before you have access to all of them, which I put special effort into being able to complete on this first year. Yeah, you'd think that the first ones I'd be able to finish are the fall foraging or the spring foraging, but nope. The only bundle I can actually complete right now is the exotic foraging. The other ones I would have to finish later. So First, I stopped off at Pierre. You know, I gotta get the final backpack upgrade and get the spring exclusive items, which in this case was just a green bean seed. And then I headed down to the beach where I was able to forage an oyster, clam, and sea urchin. The former two being just what I needed to complete the crab pop bundle. After that, I scurried on up to Robin's to upgrade to the big coop. And then I made my way down to Marnie's to supply that coop with a white and brown chicken, which took me way too long thinking of a naming theme. But I decided to go with like song genres, like Carol and Aria. After that, I went over to the museum with all the artifacts I had collected over the previous year. However, I made a huge mistake because I accidentally donated my fire quartz I needed for the geologist bundle. However, after donating the items to Gunther, I took my geodes over to Clint, and like the first geode he snapped open had a brand new fire quartz for me. So no harm, no foul. Got some more items from the museum, and I even got myself an earth crystal. So I opened all but one frozen geode, picked up my axe, and then purchased enough golden ore to make 2 golden bars. One which was for the blacksmith bundle, but while that bar was being prepared, I decided to head down to the mines. The mines. This is going to be one of the biggest problems of this run. The mines are pretty easy in a real run. You can go down like 5 stories per day, but I need some stuff from deep in the mines. But there's also some items near the top I hope I can find, like a quartz. So I went in, got 5 levels into the mine getting the first checkpoint, and I found that quartz. Then I bounced out and fulfilled the blacksmith bundle, the geologist bundle, which gave me access to all of the bundles, including the ones that take cash money. I went and fulfilled the 25,000 gold one because, you know, the crystallarium can pay for itself rather quickly, and the $2,500 one because I've got 2,500 right now. I'm not leaving the farm for another 7 seasons. Just give me the cake. And then I spent the final few hours searching in vain for a leek. I mean, earlier I was able to scoop up a quick dandelion, daffodil, and wild horseradish, but the leek just eluded me. Once again, another season where I was unable to grab all the forageables. Fantastic! Alright, so I retreated back to my farm, and this became my home. I used the green bean seed to finish off the spring crops bundle. I found out that the copper axe could break the bigger stumps, so I got myself 10 pieces of hardwood for the construction bundle. And I may as well mention it, but yeah, I have 99 stone and 198 lumber for the whole thing. I put together a beehive, which gave me honey, and then some residual income, and I put together a preserves jar, which got me jelly, as well as residual income. Honestly, now I got a lot of sources of residual income. But when summer rolled around, the mixed seeds managed to net me 10 pieces of wheat for the fodder bundle, and as for the hay, you can just straight up buy that. Also in summer, the chickens became friendly enough to produce large eggs for the animal products bundle. Also, a witch visited my farm and turned one of my eggs into like a void egg, so I decided to incubate the little devil and name him Dirge. And after that, we entered into fall, so I was able to plant the yam to get the fall crops bundle. I planted some pumpkins too, but I didn't get enough for the quality crops. But I did get big money! On the 8th, it was a rainy day, and so I finally caught a fish that was required for the bloomin' fish tank. Yeah, all of these are cindersap forest fish. Only the walleye shows up on the farm, and only when it's raining. And on the next day, I procured a sunflower. I finished out the season by running down my stamina bar by catching a whole bunch of fish, but after a year of angling, I'm finally in a place where I'm comfortable not using my entire stamina bar to get money. Whether it be by hunks of clay or smallmouth bass. I mean, I still will rise, tend to my crops and chickens, mine rocks, and make sure the resources are coming in a checkerboard pattern, but this should definitely cut down on my time spent in the run. I mean, fishing was great. In addition to fish funds, I also got warp totems, countless geodes, a metric ton of trash, which yielded a bolt of cloth for the artisan bundle, and an absolute smorgasbord of ores. Artifacts, gems, oh, and we even pulled up a diamond to get maximum efficiency out of the crystallarium. There's only one thing that I didn't get that I would have really liked, and it's gonna end up costing hundreds of thousands of gold to actually acquire. And now all is quiet on the Western Front. For a year, I did nothing, not even check the cart. I probably would have if I knew I'd forgotten my truffle, but I waited until winter. Because I do need to leave the farm in a winter season, and I did start checking the cart for, a wild plum or a link, since those are 2 things that I still really needed. And I checked up until the 26th. But here's a little lesson in Stardew Valley. This is the reason that I don't have a wild plum, and why I'm not gonna give the traveling cart one more chance to produce the items I need. Foraging in Stardew Valley. The valley is home to many ecological wonders. Every day some of these will spawn, whether it be wild fruits and vegetables or even some marine life. You're free to pick these up. And if you want to complete the community center, it's pretty much mandatory. However, to stop the valley from getting overrun with these items, on Sundays, all of the items will disappear. I don't know if it's Yoba or a vengeful goblin, but Sundays will only yield 1 day of forage. And let me make one thing clear. Having winter as the day I left the farm sucked. I do not want to risk needing to wait until the end of the year again. So even though the cart didn't give me anything that I need, I'm leaving on the 26th because I know that there's a Nautilus shell right now, and I am not risking the goblin getting it. So what did it look like the third time I came out of my cage? Well, forageables were pretty easy because the snow yam and the winter root had already showed up on the farm under winter artifact spots. And the bus stop to the right of the farm had the crocus and the crystal fruit. After that, I made my way up to the community center to turn in any bundles. It's when I was putting these bundles together that I realized that some dummy actually forgot to buy the truffle. But I did finish off the vault and boom. First star. Now I move on to what I consider the most tricky part of the Hermit Challenge, and that being fishing. I spent a long time compiling when the applicable fish come out and the seasons and other conditions, and I figured it would be ideal if I caught the sturgeon when I went up to the carpenter, and by a brilliant stroke of luck, the first fish on the line was the sturgeon. Then I hopped on over to Robin and ordered a deluxe coupe. Then I made a quick pit stop by the farm to unload and used one of the warp totems I got from fishing to go down to the beach to grab that Nautilus shell, as well as the iridium rod. Just a couple, just a few pieces of bait. And then I floated back and forth between the blacksmith and the museum to redeem over 110 geodes. But when all was said and all was done, the museum had 57 displays, 3 shy of my ultimate goal. But honestly, I was more excited about the earth crystals because that meant that I could mint mayonnaise machines. I also left my axe with Clint, hence why I waited until winter. I want as little time as humanly possible away from it. Now, while Pierre doesn't sell any winter crops, I decided to hit him up. Maybe there's something I can get. Ah, fruit trees. Pomegranates and apples are super necessary, and since I decided to go with mushrooms instead of fruit bats, I'm gonna need a couple of those too. Final stop on this day was Marnie. I grabbed a duck and I named it Song, because Song's mom always made too much roast duck.
Where do you live exactly?
After making all the mandatory purchases, I head down to the beach to grab the last 2 winter fish, a sardine and a tuna, and the season-free tiger trout. And hey, I've still got some time, let's live it up. I can grab Robin's axe. I mean, I ain't gonna give it to her, but you know, I found it. I also hit up the merchant. She may not have the 2 forageables or any animal products that I'm missing, but she did have some summer seeds, so thank you for that. Only a few precious hours left, I guess I can grab the chub too. Alright, and for the first time ever, one of the days where I left, where I get to sleep in my own bed instead of just collapsing out in the field somewhere. And with the vault completed, the bus is up and running, which will give me access to a few more items on my next exit. An exit I expected in summer. It's the only season I haven't left in yet. I still checked the cart for that dang truffle, and even held out until the 28th of summer. No dice. But I still do need to leave in summer, so I drafted up my daily plan, and I won't bother showing it off because, after completing a few of my tasks, I decided to hop down to the beach for some important fishing and the dance of the moonlight jellies! The dance of the freaking moonlight jellies! Just because I've written off the townspeople don't mean they don't exist. Now, I was left with 2 choices. Now, I could head out, but not use this day to the fullest extent, or I could wait a little more. And ultimately, I decided to wait. I think I could have been fine if I went out, but the thing is, I still need a wild plum from fall. I'd like a few more visits with the traveling merchant, and I need to go out on a rainy day, and I'd also like to go out on a Wednesday, if I can get all of that, like, on the same time scale. That'd be nice. Oh, also my duck got me a feather on spring 25. It got me an egg a lot earlier than that, but I thought it had to be like the chicken eggs and be a big duck egg, but yeah, those don't exist. So it wasn't until summer that I actually set one aside. So in the fall, I hit up the merchant a few times, every time resulting in a soft reset. But on one rainy Tuesday, early in the season, I checked the weather forecast and saw just what I needed. Looks like a storm is approaching. Thunderbolt and lightning. Very, very frightening. So as I pruned my fields, I came up with my plan for the next day. I started out with a shot and headed out to capture the criminally elusive plum. I headed straight down to the Cindersap Forest. I scouted it out before, so I knew I'd get my plum. And I even knew there was an artifact I hadn't donated to the museum yet. A piece of elven jewelry! Then we warp over to the beach because we're looking for one very special fish.
A red snapper. It's very tasty.
We also need a tilapia, and we got that pretty quickly too. After that, a quick jaunt over to the community center to offload many of the items I had, and then I went up to Robin and I did something that, even at the time, I knew was not the smartest idea since I didn't have the truffle yet. What I should do is build and upgrade a barn so that eventually I can get a pig. However, if I do end up getting the truffle, the last thing that I'll need built is a house upgrade to get access to the kitchen. So, I placed my trust in the hands of the merchant. She did bring it for me once. Maybe I'll get lucky and she'll bring it again. And I bought the house upgrade. Hey, I just realized now, after the whole thing's said and done, I didn't need a house upgrade. The most recent update to the game added the cookout kit. It's available at foraging level 9, and it allows cooking outside of the farm. I could have just made one of those and then cooked up the 2 recipes. Also, the 2 recipes I need have a chance of being sold at the saloon as a meal of the day. I have been checking on my days out, but there are just so many meals of the day that I never actually saw any of the ones I needed. However, I still stand by my choice to get the house upgrade when I did. Then I scooted over to Marnie to buy a rabbit, and then I got on the bus over to the desert. There are a couple of things I need here. First is a sandfish for the specialty fish bundle, which can only be wrangled in the desert. Then I go down to Sandy. She's a merchant who lives in the desert, and although she doesn't sell anything that can fill out the bundle, okay, I guess technically she can sell coconuts, cactus, and honey, all of which are needed, but I already have those bundles under control. What I'm interested in is her Wednesday stock, because Sandy has a rotating stock of valuables, and on Wednesday she has 3 Omni Geodes, and I am 3 items from finishing the museum. And with my elven jewelry and some luck, I should be able to... Eureka! That is 60. I also pick up my axe from Clint. Oh, baby, I missed you. Don't ever leave me again. Alright, all I gotta do now is grab the other rainfish. There we go, a catfish. I also find a shad here, since it's fall. Alright, a little bit of time left. Let's put that steel axe to work, because the Secret Woods actually has quite a few things that I need. The first one is a star drop. Way back in my 2nd year, I bought some rare seeds and I grew myself a sweet berry. And if I give it to old Obi-Wan Cannoli here, it's strange, but the taste reminds you of... solitude. Now it's time for some fishing. The Secret Forest is home of the wood skip, and it's also home to the carp. Let's mark that off too. Alright, it's getting kinda late. I guess I can try and catch the nighttime bream, which I caught with just 1 cast. I am having the best of luck. I wonder if I can catch one more necessary thing. The answer is no.
I would like to tell you that Mr. Lonely was successful. I'd like to tell you that he found what he searched for. But instead, he passed out there on the docks, as he lived, alone.
Alrighty, back to my self-imposed prison. The next day, Gunther from the museum stops by and gives me an old antique key, which I'll be able to use to enter the sewers. And on the 16th, the bunny got me wool, and on the 24th, it got me a rabbit's foot. But can we have a little talk about the 23rd real quick? So I went to bed on the 22nd, and then, please tell me that was just Emily jamming on the theremin? What in the... what in the name of Yoba is that? Okay. We're just gonna take this and we're gonna bury it deep away in my box and my mind until it eventually drives me insane. Stay away from old Hermit Mr. Lonely. He never leaves his farm and he claims he was visited by extraterrestrials. Well, another year comes and goes, and on spring 5th, I start searching the merchant again. I already need to leave in the spring for that leak, but with all the goods that she smuggled out of the Godoro Empire, none of them are a dang gourmet mushroom with a unique taste. However, on summer 5th, I leave the farm. No idea why. I rewatched my footage to try and figure out why I left that day. I mean, I need to leave in summer, yes, but I don't see why I didn't give the merchant a couple more attempts. But okay, year 5 exit, let's go. This will be the last year that I make any substantial progress, so let's live it up. The first stop is still down in the corner where the merchant appears. Both of the missing summer forageables are here, and we head into the secret woods, which had a fiddlehead fern. I also decided to grab all the hardwood because, you know, why not? After that, we head down to the sewer. How many files do you think have entered the sewer without seeing the Jas and Vincent cutscene? Mr. Lonely's file has. And now we approach Krobus, a strange merchant who lives in the sewer and sports some rather unusual wares. 2 of them being very important items, the Void Essence and the Solar Essence. Yes, these are the 2 items that made it so I had to give 60 things to the museum just to get the Adventurers bundle. It has 4 options of items that you can turn in. I also could have done 10 bat wings or 99 slimes. And if you can only leave your farm once per year, it really helps if there's something besides 99 slimes, especially if you can do most of the work from the safety and comfort of your farm through fishing and mining. Emerge from the sewer and grab the necessary seeds from Pierre. Side note, if you're ever dumb enough to try this challenge, don't make your first year summer because Pierre only sells red cabbage after year 1. Now we go and complete the boiler room bundle, then you head up to Robin and realize you didn't clear an area for the barn. So you reset the day, clear the space, do everything again, and then you order a barn. And then it's time to make the biggest purchase of the game. Just a couple of rocks, like, you know, maybe 3 or 4 thousand at 100 apiece. This adds up fast, and I'm not even using them right now. What I need to do now is catch the last few fish missing from the bundles. 2 of them are up here in the mountains, so I catch a largemouth bass and a bullhead. Another one is back in town, that being the sunfish. A fish that almost everyone who plays this game catches as their very first fish, seeing as how it's the tutorial fish. And for me, it was the very last. Well, second to last. Now we gotta put those 4,000 rock to work. With 100 rocks, I can make a ladder. At 100 rocks per level in the mine, it costs 10,000 gold to go down just 1 level. But when time is a premium, that is a steal. And I'm able to start on floor 5 because I cleared it back in year 2. So I lay down ladders until I reach floor 20. You see, there's a body of water here that houses the final fish I have to catch. After just 2 casts, I receive the final fish. Now for the other item. I don't need it today, I just need to get to floor 40. So I tear through the ground using 10,000 gold every time I realized that the ladder wasn't going to be for free. And at 10 PM, I reach my goal. That only gives me 4 hours to search the mines, but I've done it. I've reached the domain of the aquamarine. A couple hours later, I pass out without the rock in my hand. But rest assured, it's all but collected. Alright, with all of that out of the way, let's see what items we have left. Okay, since I have the seeds for them, I'm just gonna go ahead and mark off the tomato, blueberries, and red cabbage. Large milk? Well, Robin's building the barn right now. All I need to do is buy a cow and we'll be golden. Apples and pomegranates. The trees had a hard time growing in last year because I didn't have my axe to clear the area. But now the trees are fully grown, so all we need now is the season of turning leaves. Boom! 3 apples, 2 pomegranates, and it's all thanks to the trees. Aquamarine dilly dilly. Well, floor 40 in the mines is now accessible. I might be able to fish it up with treasures, but I think I'll have more than enough time on my next outing to pillage it from the earth. The recipes. The fried egg is easy. Get an egg, fry it. But the maki roll? I have enough spare fish, but there are 2 other ingredients that I need but don't have. Rice, which I can just pick up from Pierre or Jojo Mart. And seaweed, which can only be plucked from the sea as a junk item. So I guess I'm not ready to hang up my fishing pole just yet. Leek. Just go out in the spring. Truffle. Oh man, the only guaranteed way to get that gosh dang item is to upgrade my barn to the big barn, and then upgrade that barn to the deluxe barn, and the year after that I buy a pig, and then I wait 1 more year to turn it in. I really don't want to do that. But if it's what I must do, that's what I must do. Ah well, it won't take too terribly long now. I've entered hibernation mode. You know, I wake up, I realize I have crippling depression, you know, no reason to get out of bed, so I just kind of stay in bed. I still get up on the 1st, the 14th, and the 28th of each season, you know, just to plant seeds, maintain the farm, make a little bit of money, grab my diamond, but I do hibernate the rest of the year away. And then I finally start checking the merchant again. But as spring comes and goes and the merchant let me down again, I am left with 2 choices. I can either leave now and get the leek, but if I do that, I'm stuck on the farm for 3 more seasons, watching the Sundays and Fridays just flutter away, wondering, what if? Nah, I'm putting my faith in the merchant lady. So I waved goodbye to her and the season, and I waited through summer and got nothing. But then, on the 5th day of fall, in the 6th year, like a shining beacon, the truffle appeared. I restarted my day, I planned my route, and I got to work. Well, first things first. I head to the community center and I redeem every single fish. Then I head to the mines where I'm overwhelmed and killed. Nope! Do it all over again, and every time I get to a floor, I check it. If I don't see an aquamarine or crates, I'm making stairs. On the second time down, I mine down one floor, I stairs down another, and then tucked away in the corner is a little hidden gem. Then I head out and spend entirely way too much money. I mean, I upgrade the barn, but then I buy the furniture and wallpaper catalog so I can, summon anything I want to the farm where I'm imprisoned. I also picked up a bunch of ingredients from Pierre, including, of course, rice. Then I go and grab my cow, name her Bessie, and then I buy the elusive, the illusory, the occults
Truffle.
Then, since I'm here, I snatch up all the hardwood, and then...
Let's go to the beach! Ninky Minjad.
Now I go for the most elusive fish yet. Seriously, this probably took longer than any other fish I've sought. Usually the game knew just what I needed, and it just handed it to me. Seaweed, a little less so. I'm almost done. I have every last item I needed. So I stopped by the saloon. Hey everyone!
I have no idea who this is.
So I head back to the farm. I'm nearly done. Just one more exit. I wake up every day in fall, harvesting the fruits, smashing the rocks, and of course tending to the Bessie. I pet her every day, I'm milking her, and eventually, on fall 18th, I get the 109th item for the community center. Large milk. Well, much like a bear, I get ready to sleep through the winter. I went into my house and I slept. And I brewed some mead every day. I also went out to the quarry. Fun fact, after 7 years in this game, primarily getting all of my mining EXP from the quarry, I only reached level 8 mining. The field never filled up fully during my hibernation sessions. I just thought that was some interesting info. And at last, winter 28 rolled around. I turned in all of my stuff. And hit a million gold. I think that was the goal. Oh, no. It was finish the community center without leaving the farm or something like that. All right. New year. One more chance to roam free. Well, no time like the present. I load up all of my stuff and I head out on the hunt. And right there on the first screen, an item that was probably the first item picked up by thousands of players was at last, finally, mine. I went over to the community center, and in 7 short years, I completed every single community center bundle. Hey guys! This video is a little outside of my wheelhouse, a challenge video, but it was a lot of fun to do. It'd be pretty cool if you checked out my other content, but if you only like challenge videos, if this one does well, I'd be up to doing it again in the future. If you have any ideas for challenges, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I am going to go drink a glass of milk now. Bye-bye.